the systematic and this is all about DNA, which is we would call science. Is that right? You know, the beauty of DNA is it's the beautiful design. It's God's design down to the finest detail, a granular level of how we're made.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Nobody really embodies the phrase "stupid is as stupid does" as much as Georgia Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. In fact, if there was a Nobel Prize for stupidity, I would give it to her because it's honestly impressive how she has reached peak stupidity. And frankly, I love laughing at her stupidity, like when she can't read in what we're about to see. But the downside of Marjorie's minuscule mind power and the fact that she is in a position of leadership is that it has real-world consequences on people's lives, their data, and their privacy, like what happened today in a GOP Oversight Committee hearing called Securing Americans' Data, Privacy, and National Security Concerns Surrounding 23andMe's Bankruptcy Sale. Now, I'm going to play you Marjorie's petty and humiliating testimony in a second, as well as, thankfully, Jasmine Crockett at the end coming back and actually doing the work for Americans and asking the real questions about privacy and data security. But for some quick context, 23andMe is the company that takes swabs of your DNA to give you ancestry results, things about your health, all that kind of stuff, right? And they had security concerns that stemmed from a significant data breach in 2023 that exposed the data of nearly 7 million of their users, including detailed genetic information and, for some, health-related details. The breach highlighted vulnerabilities in their security measures, and additionally, the company's financial struggles afterwards and potential bankruptcy raised further concerns about the future of user data and its protection. So, you know, something most Americans most people would be concerned with, especially with Doge getting access to our social security numbers. But Marjorie here used her time on the stand not only to make it about her and a petty vendetta she had against the company's co-founder, but to also further humiliate herself by looking as stupid as she ever has. I'm just gonna play it for you, and please drop in the comments, let me know what you think, because we don't have time to parse through the exorbitant amount of stupidity here. And while you're there, drop a like and subscribe.
Miss Wojcicki, sorry, apologize. You co-founded 23andMe in 2006 and took the company public in 2021. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this is all about DNA, which is we would call science. Is that right?
It was really about how individuals can learn about their own genetic information.
But DNA and the study of it is science. Is that correct?
It's about learning about their family, their ancestry, science, and their health risks.
Okay, so it's science. Now, in 2001, you reposted Dr. Raven, the science maven, who reposted my post of a sign that I kept outside of my office that said there are two genders, male and female, trust the science. And the attack on this, which you reposted, so you must have agreed with them, was, as a scientist with a transgender parent, I need you to sit down. You don't know the science or the history. You trust the science. Science draws a difference between sex at birth and gender identity. The systematic incident of gender is a product of colonization. What does colonization have to do with gender?
I haven't seen that in a long time. I don't actually.
You reposted it, though, so you must have known something about it. So it's baffling that 23andMe, a company that specializes in DNA and people's very personal information and how God has designed human beings, would support and continue to support the trans ideology that this is something that can be changed. Have you ever seen any DNA or know of DNA that a biological male can give birth to a baby?
No.
No. So this is something that we know cannot be changed. That's scientific. That's the design of our DNA. Another thing that's hard to understand is, you know, the beauty of DNA is it's the beautiful design. It's God's design down to the finest detail, a granular level of how we're made, but it also helps people link with their family trees. Yet this is a letter that you put out after the SCOTUS ruling overturning Roe versus Wade, and you put out a letter very much against the ruling that the right should go back to the states. And you clearly put your own personal belief in here on the 23andMe social media that you are very much for the killing of the unborn, the killing of babies, which completely would destroy what your company is all about. How can we study DNA? How can we study people's lineage if one of the very co-founders and who wants to own the company again supports the murder of the unborn, the murder of God's design, and the murder of God's creation, which we can link it to DNA?
Yeah, frankly, I only have one response for that before we get to Jasmine Crockett, and it's this.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Despite the messy breakup we all saw unfold last week between the world's richest billionaire and the world's pettiest billionaire, we cannot forget the damage Elon Musk and President Trump have done together to our government, national security, and Americans' privacy. Republicans are holding this hearing acting like they care about protecting your privacy, pretending like their president isn't out there trashing privacy and cybersecurity laws to build profiles of Americans' sensitive information that could give him unparalleled power to control what we say and what we do. That's right, whistleblowers have told the committee that DOJ is carrying around, quote, backpacks full of laptops to combine protected data from different agencies, and that DOJ is not notifying Americans that their data is being moved around, even though they're required to do so by federal law. Maybe now that Elon broke up with Donald, the majority will finally join us in demanding answers from Mr. Musk's time within this administration. Let me tell you something. We have seen that this administration has decided to go after students because of things that they have said. We have seen people get fired because they refuse to pledge their loyalty to this daggone cult. This is absurd, and we don't need people being targeted. They are weaponizing us while at the same time making us very vulnerable to those that want to hurt us the most. Now, listen, I never sent my DNA to anybody, so I don't know where I was stolen from. I'm going to tell you right now, I did not do it because I was concerned, because there is a history, especially when it comes to black folk, with taking our stuff. So I didn't do it. So now I sit here clueless about my heritage. But I tell you that having a hearing on this issue brings about all of those worst fears for me, though. The fact that our data is just out there and our personal biographical information. So I am just going to ask any and everyone around the science world, so that we can make sure that we move forward in this country. When it comes to science, we got to make sure that we are protecting people's information as we are trying to move forward, whether it's AI, whether we're talking about things such as our genes or otherwise. Thank you so much, and I yield. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair.